Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new series on a pack called Sky of Grind. And looks like we are on top of a tree here with absolutely nothing under us. What an amazing spawn. So while I break down this tree here and get us started on this platform with literally nothing but a block of dirt it seems, I will have to say that this series is going to be way more laid back than the definitely completed series on my channel. There are a lot of incomplete series on my channel. That's because I usually just burn out of YouTube and kind of go back to progressing myself without actually recording it. Although this time I think I'm going to take things a bit more slowly. So while I am still going to record everything and I am going to go most of the way through, I am going to be maybe a bit more laid back on the editing here because this is kind of what has stopped me from making YouTube, and it seems like crafting table recipes changed. Great. So yeah, I expect these to be a bit longer videos. It's still gonna be, I'll try and make them kind of short, but also expect way too slow of a pacing. Anyway, let's get started. Enough of this, let's take a look at the quest book here. So, Sky of Grind seems to also be another gregtech pack with an extended endgame from what I can tell. Like, it's pretty fleshed out for the moment, so I thought I'd try it out. Now, first of all, obviously we spawn with a tree, and how am I supposed to plant here if there is absolutely no space to go? I guess we can waste some of our wood to expand, right? It's fine. We do the usual skyblock gameplay of constantly planting, sneaking, and chopping down wood. This is extremely engaging gameplay here. I'll see you back. Amazing start to the no editing thing here. I'm already cutting stuff from the beginning. But yeah, we have our 16 oak logs. Welcome to the pack. Well, thank you, questbook. This is Dogecoin. There's a shop in this pack. That's pretty nice. Alright, so it seems like our next step here is to get some cobblestone, and we just do that by right-clicking the dirt here. It's so annoying, you know when you have a pebble like this and you just can't right-click? Just let me right-click in peace. And a bunch of right-clicking later, and our inventory is kind of full of pebbles, not really. Just as a tip, by the way, you can press Shift K in order to compress everything in your inventory. We have our quest. But yeah, this is a very easy way to compress pebbles into the stones. Alright, so it seems like the beginning of this pack is just the usual skyblock, except for this Extractinator thing. what is that? But yeah, it seems like we just have, vein mining. So we need to make our stone hammer and get some flint. Now the stone hammer, I don't know how you would make without a crafting table. Oh, okay. I'll spend ages trying to figure out why and how to get that stone hammer without a crafting table, only to realize we have one on a stick from a quest. Okay, so we can make ourselves the stone hammer here, and we can hammer down some stone into gravel. And do we have the flint crafting recipe that we usually have? No, we do not. Okay, so we cannot craft flint unless we keep mining gravel. Okay, well, I'll see you guys in just a bit. Oh, finally, that took ages. I have also done a little bit of island expansion. As you can see here, I just used some slabs that I've crafted from my crafting table on stick. But yeah, we can finally make a crafting table, and it seems like a furnace as well, which is a bit odd. I don't have any wood left though, so we're gonna have to get on that first. Right, great. So that should be our crafting table, and then we are able to make a furnace, finally. And we can now see what's next. It seems like we can already make wrought iron, although there's kind of no way to get iron right now. Well, there is, but I don't know how to yet. Alright, so it seems like in this pack, in order to be able to get any sorts of metal or ores or anything like that, it does seem like we're gonna need to make this Extractinator item here, which is relatively cheap to make. It's just that we need one more piece of flint, which that kind of took ages, so I'm not really looking forward to that. Okay, there you go. Okay, we got it. That's good. So we can now proceed with making the rest of the requirements. In order to make this, we need a bit more wood. But it's kind of annoying in this pack how one log only gives you 2 planks. More wood chopping for me. I do also want to pick something up while I'm at it. There is this crook item here, which if you've played Skyblock before, you know what this is for. This allows us to get silkworm, which allows us to infest the leaves so that we can get some string so that we can make a bed, and it seems like a soft mallet too. Oh, okay, they've ported over the GTH recipe for a bed. Okay, that's interesting. So we just grow the tree, we mine it up. We have a chance of getting a silkworm. We didn't get it this time. Right, yep, there is the silkworm. So now we just want to plant another tree, and we just want to right-click the silkworm on a random leaf. As you can see, there's a progress here. It should spread to the rest of the leaves too. In the meantime, let's focus on making our extractinator. So we need a bit more wood. We can make a fence gate here. That is the extractinator. Looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. This is a pretty cool looking machine. So the quest book here seems to be giving us a guide on how to automate this because you can't really right click this. There's no GUI for it. So let's read through it a little bit here. So to use the machine, you need to right click with the input material. The items will drop floating to the sky. You can place a block above the machine to make the items go inside the block, and you can extract them with a hopper. You can also automate the process by placing a hopper with the cobblestone. I wouldn't recommend making a massive automation as you're gonna unlock better ways of getting resources later on, like H&N or the extractor as a gregtech machine that doesn't send items flying. I did see that. It does seem like there are single blocks for the extractors here, the extractinator. So this is going to be very temporary. Now, if I understand this correctly, we should be able to make a chest here and place it on top, and that should output the items. Let's see, it does seem like cobblestone is our main way of getting our main materials like iron, gold, copper, tin. So let's test this out with cobblestone. So you right click with the input item. Oh, this is fast. Okay, so it does say that it contains iron and gold, although I can't really extract it. Oh, okay, so you can't really have a block on top, it just shoots them into the sky. So if I place a piece of cobblestone here, oh yeah, it just it just shoots them into the sky. Okay, so we need some kind of collection system here, as the quest book says. Now we should... Never mind. Okay, that's not... Yeah, a hopper is really not happening for quite some time. So we're gonna have to stick to manually just picking up all the items. So as you can see, we're getting copper, iron, tin at a pretty good rate. I'm not gonna lie. Also some coal, some stibnite, some flint. It's a pretty good machine. I can just sit there and keep right-clicking. Yeah, that is a lot of resources. Okay, that is kind of OP, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's better than a lot of different skyblock packs. But yeah, anyway, we can just go ahead and set this smelting, and we should be able to process down all of these resources and make our basic tools. Also, checking back in on the tree here, it does seem to be fully infested now. Let's make another crook since this one's about to break. And we can just vein mine all of it, and as you can see, we pick up string. That's a lot less than I'm used to, but that's fine. Our main target here is to make a bed, so as long as we can get 6 pieces of wool, we should be fine. We can turn those into carpets, and now we can just move along with the process of crafting bed. Now, just a bit of a tip here, if you are looking for some kind of history lookup tab here, you can go to AMI config down here. You can go to wherever you want it to be. In my case, I like to be in the right sidebar. In sub panels, you can click the plus, you can click lookup history, and you can change however many rows you want this to be. So I prefer it to be 2 rows. You can click done. As you can see down here, if I now look up a recipe for something, it's going to be saved down here. This is very useful for crafting when you're doing a lot of micro crafting and there's a lot of items you're looking up you want to go back to. And let's also make a soft mallet here. Let's actually bookmark the recipe for the bed. And there it is. We have our first bed. Now, obviously, everyone knows that the bed should be yellow, but it's not like we have any decision here because we don't really have any grass or flowers. We will soon, though, hopefully. I think so, at least. You know, something I just discovered, we have this kind of auto-place crafting table thing, so we don't really need a crafting station unless we have some kind of inventory next to it, which it does seem to exist. Let's get the crafting station. Let's get the crafting station. We'll probably make some kind of storage to house all of our random stuff that we are crafting. We do have a chest made up that we have not really made use of, so that's actually perfect. Right, great. We have some kind of crafting storage here while we craft. Let's make this a double chest as well. And yeah, we have a storage for anything we want to craft. So let's focus on the task on hand here. The next task seemed to be making the basic tools. Now, I did get a lot more flint from my extractinators, so I think I'm going to make a few more furnaces here just to speed up the process of smelting. Do we have higher tier furnaces? It doesn't seem like... Oh, we do. Yeah, we do. We have copper furnaces, iron furnaces. Although iron furnaces do need basic tools, so I could upgrade to copper furnaces since they're not bad. They're not a bad upgrade, and not to mention copper we get in abundance. I mean, the resources here are free, right? You saw how fast we get resources, so I think we can spend resources however much we want, and I think we're just gonna place these here. That seems like a good location. Alright, great. So we have all of them smelted and set. Some of them are making us coal, copper, gold, iron. We'll start smelting the tin soon. Oh, we have more iron. That is a lot of resources here, and we can get much more from just pure cobblestone. I mean, this is overpowered. This is really overpowered. Alright, so it's been a while later, and I have smelted most of our resources here. I've also farmed some wood and cobblestone, and I've crafted this item called a chisel. This allows us to basically just design different patterns for blocks and enable connecting textures. It's a really cool building tool. I am going to be utilizing this to build our base, but for the moment I have actually discovered that wrought iron smelts in a 1-to-3 ratio, so that's pretty cool. I have completed the quest for that, and the tool quest actually just requires one wrought iron ingot. It just lists all the tools for you to craft, but you can just choose to craft them out of any different material, which is extremely convenient. So I have bookmarked most of the tools we're going to need here, and I am going to also craft some shears because we need those to make water and dirt. Well, technically we don't need them, but they will make things way easier. So it does seem like we're a little bit short here. Let's make some more wrought iron, maybe this much. Set it off to smelt. Alright, so let's go ahead and start making our tools. Instead of iron, we want to use wrought iron. So here is the hammer. We need a mortar as well, which means we need to smelt some stone here. While that smelts up, we can make the wrench. Perfect, there it is. Ticked off the list. And now we can also make a file. There it is, perfect, that's off the list. We can make a screwdriver. Right, perfect. That's off the list too. We can make a saw as well. That is also off the list. We can also make a knife, which I don't actually know if we're gonna need. Oh yes, we will. We will need it for the coke oven later on. Right, perfect. Here is the knife. So now we're just waiting on a couple more pieces of wrought iron just for the wire cutter and the mortar over here, which I think our stone should have finished smelting. Perfect. So that right there is the mortar. We will need a couple more, so maybe we will send up some more stone smelting. So that's ticked off the list, and we will also make our wire cutter. In fact, let's make 2 wire cutters because we are going to be blazing through these. These have a very low durability when it comes to crafting. 64 crafting uses. Come on. A lot of micro crafting involved in this wire cutter here. But that should be it. Also, I realized I was looking at the iron wire cutter. I assume the wrought iron one it's only slightly better. Still 96. We do seem to be missing something. Oh, no, there we go. We can make it. Perfect. Okay, so that's the wire cutter also ticked off the list. We can leave all these tools here so that we can craft using them later, not you. That right there is our second mortar. Right, perfect. So let's see where we are in the quest progression now. We can start making ourselves water and also some dirt in order to unlock rubber rings. We can also start crafting ourselves some bronze here, which is made of copper dust and tin dust. We can also enter the Steam age with this bronze here, which means that we can actually get started on some gregtech progression. So for the moment, let's make a batch of bronze and set it to smelt. Now the beginning way to make bronze here is not perfect, and that's why I made 2 mortars here. Sure, they have a lot of crafting durability, but it's not amazing because we're going to use a lot of it. Please don't consume my copper. Okay, yeah, so we're going to want to macerate or crush down the copper into copper dust. the tin into tin dust, and then we're just gonna want to mix them in the crafting table like so. That should be 48 bronze. That should be the quest. Perfect. So we'll set those off smelting, and in the meantime, let's figure out how to make some water. So the first step here is to obviously make some shears, and yeah, I'll let the recipe speak for itself. Right, here is a pair of shears. And the reason we need these is because these guys work with vegetation or any kind of plant, and using leaves is probably the easier way to go. Now, can we make buckets the normal way? No, we cannot. So let's also make some buckets here so that we can actually house all of the fluids that we make. For the moment, I think 2 buckets should be more than enough to house everything. That's not how you make a bucket. All right, perfect. So now we should be able to just grab a sapling. We grow the tree, and then we just take the leaves themselves. Also, I just realized we're in a savanna biome, which is not ideal, but we can roll with it. It's fine. And we can right click here and it's gonna start generating us water. So this is only gonna be needed for like 2 buckets, so it doesn't really matter where we place it or what we do with it. This, on the other hand, is used to make dirt, so we can just keep right clicking with the leaves here. And as you can see, there's a progress bar on the top. It's converting all this into dirt. This would be way harder if we can use leaves. I mean, you had to use wheat or saplings or something like that. But yeah, we have the quest for dirt now. Let's claim the reward as well. It does seem like there's a way to make rubber saplings and extra saplings out of dirt itself. So we just need to put it in the extractinator, and perfect. We have our rubber saplings. Now the rubber saplings give us rubber wood, and that rubber wood can be made into raw rubber pulp various different ways. It also gives us sticky resin. There's multiple different things we can do. Why do we have a quest here? All right, we just got copper dust here. It's part of a processing line. Yeah, this. Yeah, these processing chains are about to get kind of crazy. It's not something I haven't seen before, but I do see a few unique things here already. Anyway, let's stop dreaming and go back to reality. So, our water is getting ready. Our bronze is ready, so we can move on to the steam age now, and in order to do that we need the bronze machine casing. Now obviously for the beginning here the bronze is going to be extremely expensive because we use the 2-to-1 plate recipe, and there it is, the bronze machine casing. We are now officially in the steam age. Right, perfect. So it seems like the beginning of the steam age here is like any other steam age where you make the coke oven. There's also this liquid boiler. Oh, right, yeah, this thing uses any liquid like lava or something hot in order to generate steam out of water. We don't have to worry about that in this episode. Hopefully we'll get some steam generation in the next episode. But for today's episode, I think I just want to get the coke oven, and then we can call it a day. So the coke oven will require a lot of bricks. Now bricks in this pack have been changed to this recipe, and this is made using a water bucket. Now the brick itself is smelting compressed clay. That's from actual clay. Now clay is a little harder to get in this pack because you need a lot of water. It's not hard, it's tedious, but you need a lot of cobblestone, a lot of, dust comes from sand, sand comes from gravel, gravel comes from cobblestone. So it's a little bit tedious, but we should be fine. We also need this brick form, and that's kind of why I made the knife. Let's actually do that right now. Awesome, perfect. So here is the wooden brick form. Now, actually, we can go ahead and use this view recipe tree here in EMI in order to show us exactly what we need for it. So here's a little kind of mini tutorial on how to use EMI. If you want to have a crafting tree for something, you start by selecting the thing you want to actually make a crafting tree for. You click view recipe tree. You can scroll up and down to adjust, shift to scroll by 16. Now for one coke oven, we will need 25 for the actual structure and 4 for the controller, which means that we will need 29. You can access the recipe tree down here. So we will need 29 of these, which means we need 116 of these. Now, how do you make these? Well, we don't have the alloy smelter recipe yet, which means we need to go the bad route here. So we can set as a default recipe here, which means that it will always use it in the crafting tree. Whenever you want to switch the recipe, you set something else as a default and it will default to that other recipe. So down the chain again, we need to make this. This is also where our brick form comes in. So we need clay balls and sand in order to make the compressed coke clay. and then we smelt it to coke oven bricks, and then we craft it into the actual coke oven bricks. Now the controller itself is very simple, so I don't think we need a recipe for that. And now that I think about it, I don't know why we need the bricks. We do need them for the rest of the steam age, but I don't know why the coke oven is gated behind that. Anyway, let's get to work. As a famous person once said, holding right click is one of the most important skills you can have in a pack, and he was not lying. That is a lot of right clicking for just a little bit of cobblestone, but it does seem like we have it here, 3 stacks and a half. So just a little tip here that I wanted to come back for. If we make a bunch of stone hammers here real quick, and then we bring them all together in a crafting table, we get something called a compressed hammer. Now this compressed hammer can be used to compress things down even faster, so we can take all the cobblestone and we can make it into compressed cobblestone like so. Now we needed 3 stacks and a half. We'll just compress all of it, it's fine. So yeah, we can get the compressed cobblestone like so. As you can see, it's also a quest here, it's somewhere. Anyway, so we can now place the compressed cobblestone, and that is much better than just placing 3 stacks of cobblestone. You just have to place a few pieces of cobblestone, and then you're able to just vein mine all of them, and there you go, you have your crushed gravel or sand or whatever. This works in all different forms, so you can turn the gravel here, place the gravel down, crush it down into sand. There you go. It was that easy. So yeah, now we have all the sand we need, and I will continue crafting. Right, so that is our second bucket of water in the meantime. I have been collecting these. And right now, what we could do is we can technically make an infinite water source, so we don't really need those other ones anymore. We'll stick it somewhere in the corner over here, just so that it doesn't interfere with anything. So we'll just have a little platform here. This could, yeah. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to replace these with normal planks so they're usable. And yeah, there it is, an infinite water source. So now what we need to do, and that's gonna take a very long amount of time, is that we need to transform every single piece of dust into clay. That's actually not that bad. So yeah, we need to put the water inside, the dust on top, and that's how we get clay. And now we need to do that 29 more times. And I guess 2 buckets does make it a little bit better. Right, and done. That is the last piece of clay. And now we just need to compress this clay down. Actually, I have a building one here. Yeah, these ones are pretty good at just stacking blocks on top of each other, I guess. The stone one is not great, although we do actually have a infinity one unlocked for purchase here. It's actually pretty cheap. We do have enough to buy it. I just don't know if it's worth it at the moment, so I'll wait a bit on it. Anyway, so we can just punch that to get the regular clay balls. And we have the wooden brick form, which means that we can now craft all of our bricks if it shift clicks properly. It seems like the crafting station has a bit of a problem in the fact that it does not just shift click everything into the recipe once it starts running. So I guess we'll make a crafting table, although we are out of wood. Come on. Right, that should be our crafting table. Now we can... Oh, come on. That's fine. We will manually fill the recipe. Right, perfect. I have already crafted a few of them on the side here. But yeah, we have our coke oven bricks, which do seem to be enough. I don't know. It does not display in stacks. And now we just need to run them through the furnace. Meantime, I guess we can make our iron plates. I guess while these fire bricks, or not the fire bricks, the coke oven bricks smelt up, we can technically start on making the first quest here, which is the 2 bricks, because that's for some reason required. So in order to make this, we just need to pass this by a wooden brick form. Do we also need... Yeah, we need to smelt this. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of smelting. I also forgot to upgrade these into copper. I will hopefully do that at some point. Also, now that we have the tools, we can technically upgrade this to iron. I think right here there is a section for it. Yep, there it is. So the iron... Yep, we can afford it. It's pretty expensive for the moment, so maybe I'll upgrade 1 to iron. What does the angel ring cost? Oh yeah, we can forget about this. Okay. Alright, awesome. So that should be our 8 bricks. We also need a water bucket so that we can make this into the actual brick block. Perfect. And in the meantime, our coke oven bricks have finished smelting. So hopefully there are no more hoops. Yep, there it is. These are the coke oven bricks right there. Here is the controller. There's the quest. So that said, I do want to construct a cook oven, but I think I want to put that in its designated area, slightly more permanent. So I'm gonna wait till the next episode in order to construct this multi-block, which looks like this, by the way. It's a 3x3 cube. Anyway, in the meantime, I will try and do some base building, and I will see you guys in the next episode with a way better base. Like, subscribe, comment if you enjoy. If there are any tips you have, leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.